Hey guys, it's Twintuitive717 back with another video. So I just wanted to share some cards with you guys and try to pick up on the divine masculine energies a little bit because I have been feeling a lot of sensual and sexual energy coming from them, and usually for myself when that happens, it's a sign of them coming back around and trying to contact the feminine again. And what I feel for many of you is that you have been in contact with your masculine and then you exchange a lot of intimate conversation and then they're disappearing, but throughout this cycle or this time around, you're finding that those periods where they're disappearing, it's a lot shorter. So some of you might have been in contact with your masculines and then they would disappear and it would be months at a time, but now you're finding that it's, weeks at a time or days at a time. So what I feel that means is that they're coming into a deeper understanding of who the feminine is. And for many of them, they're at work thinking about the divine feminine. And that's a big deal for the masculines that I'm picking up on, because when it comes to their work, they're extremely ambitious and focused, and oftentimes nothing gets into that arena. Like, they're very, very sharp and their mind is very disciplined and trained when it comes to their work, and that's just what I'm picking up on. But when it comes to thoughts of the divine feminine, they can't avoid it, and that's what's alerting them to the significance of the connection. So I just thought I'd share some cards on that, because I guess I just feel like it's nice that they're not coming in so hot and heavy anymore with a lot of immature communication. They're understanding the value of the time spent with the feminines, and so, that's sweet. This is the kind of passion that they want to exchange, with her when they are communicating. Just very tender, passionate energy. I feel like he wants her to know, like, I've got you. Even if we're not talking, I'm thinking about you. Everything about you is just warm and pure. And her energy just makes him want to come close and enjoy her time in whichever ways he can get it now. And that's a big change for some of you feminines too, because you have had experiences where your masculine has been extremely in and out. Many of you have felt, a little bit, I don't want to say rejected, because I feel like we've definitely done a lot of work to move past those types of emotions. But, you've really been left cold a lot of times. And so now that he's coming in with a lot of this heartfelt energy, it's your time to really absorb it and trust it and see from a deeper level, or feel from a deeper level, what it's really taken for him to express this vulnerability to you, especially based on how immature the communication might have been in the past. And many of you know the type of connection that I'm speaking of when I talk about a twin flame connection. So that's why I, talk about the feminines kind of accepting his communication this time around in a more enlightened way, where she's not as quick to get feisty. She's really thinking about what he's saying and then trying very hard to read in between the lines, because I think with the feminines, they're very aware now of how the masculine perceives them, and the feminines are sort of toning it down a little and going back to that place of being the receiving energy. So being more of like the listening ear and really stepping back and leaning back. As I'm saying this, I'm finding myself leaning back, and so I guess that's the energy that has wanted to kind of come into play for like a really long time between them. And it's like now they're kind of like doing that dance. Now they're in like that natural flow, because he's really wanted to see some softness to her. And, you know, now that he has, because the feminines are showing their vulnerability a lot more, and I feel like that's because the feminines are kind of like in that space of like, hey, I will, you know, be very, very passionate towards you, but, you know, you can really see there with the swords, like it's like he has to put his guard down and really embody this type of energy in order for her to also let her guard down, because with that immature communication, that's what was making her very feisty, making her snap back, making her assert her authority. But because they've, I guess, have argued like an old couple about it so many times, they're starting to understand each other a lot more through the separation that they experience. And for many of you, the telepathy too is increasing, which is why each time you're communicating now, it's getting deeper and deeper, and your bond is deepening, because you're kind of like understanding each other in a way, right? Like, oh, okay, so you're not an asshole. You're not a jerk. That's just how you are. So, and you know, it's like he too is like, okay, she's not as like, you know, this big bad boss that, you know, men have to kind of be very careful of approaching, like that man-eater kind of like energy, you know. But he knows that she can go there though, and I think that's what he finds really attractive and sexy about her. And like I think in this card here, it's like you can really see the amazement on his face as to like, oh my god, like this is mine. Like she's extremely strong and beautiful and sexy. And with him taking the dress off very slowly like that, you can tell like they're both learning to relax around each other a little bit more. You know, it's like he has to calm down and do things a lot more slowly, and she's letting him know that, you know, I know that you think that I'm very, very strong and intimidating at times, but with her hand in his hair, she wants to nurture him and appear as that very soft energy as well. And that's what makes them kind of go back to this space here of like that natural energy of where the masculine just is, I want to be your protector, right? Even though I know you can protect me and protect the both of us, I want to be your protector, is what I feel like he's saying. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's sweet energy coming in, you know, with them, because, you know, I guess at the end of the day, the masculines are just glad that they're able to express this kind of passion now without feeling some kind of like weakness. You know, like they're really seeing the art of being a gentleman with the feminines. And I think in past experiences with other females that have been in their lives, that sort of like energy of like that gentleman is very like, it was like taken advantage of, but not with the feminine. It's like, you know, she really very much appreciates him doing this, getting down on his knees like this, you know. And if you guys look closely at the card, there's a flame burning there that tells me that whoever this is in the mirror image here is, yeah, they're no longer playing a role in this connection, because I think all parties involved are starting to understand that the connection between the masculine and the feminine is, it's spiritual. It's like, okay, you know what? We've tried everything to keep you two apart, and it's causing more misery in our lives trying to keep you guys apart. So just go ahead and be together. And you could see the feminine here is like, oh, you know, like, I hope I haven't caused any harm. And that's how the feminines are. But feminines, everything is in divine order and everything happens with divine purpose. And many of you who are on the twin flame journey have planned it in this way with the very people who are connected to you through this journey. No matter what their role is, no matter how toxic or, you know, weird or odd it might seem in that moment, it's not something for you to decipher as a negative experience within your connection. For you, you're supposed to understand that this twin flame connection, no matter what your circumstance is meant to transform you and all of the people that are in it. because this kind of passion between them can't be denied. So you can only imagine what's going to be created out of it for the world to see and experience. And I think that's a lesson too for, many of the masculine's karmic partners as well. It's teaching them to value themselves also, because they're understanding that it's not worth it to try to hold a man's attention. If his heart's not in it, his heart's not in it. And they're learning to value and see themselves as worthy now. And I feel like that's why the feminines kind of like looking at them in this way. It's like the feminines are kind of like saying that I really hope that this was a good transformation for you as well. But they'll both see in like divine timing that this was all orchestrated in this way. Many feminines who have those intuitive abilities as well can already see the karmic's role and are already in a state of peace when it comes to their masculine's karmic situations. And many of you will get there as well. Just know that these lessons are designed to teach us. No matter how negative we may feel, that negativity is meant to transform into something beautiful and positive for your soul to understand about human connections. And, being on this twin flame journey myself, oftentimes I look at the connection between myself and my masculine and a lot of the connections that I see and read about in my personal readings, and I find myself saying sometimes, humans are just so beautiful, and the love that we get to express here on this earth is such a beautiful thing. And so I just send this message out to many of you who are experiencing your twin flame connection, not to feel ashamed or afraid or in fear or feel any sort of negativity about it, because love will dissolve and combat all of that within an instant if you trust it. Okay? So I hope this reading finds many of you well. And with that being said, I will leave you guys with a letter from your divine masculine. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, and I love you.